On November 16, 2004, the lives of the hardworking people of Hacienda Lucita were forever changed by what is seen as the most bloody and controversial strike in Philippine history. 5,700 farmers and workers from two unions united in a peaceful strike against a long history of worker exploitation. Under the direct orders of the Arroyo administration, the police, the military, and hired goons arrived and attempted to disperse the workers, but failed 4 times to break the unity of the workers. The strike was broken up by brutal attacks on the workers. The Hacienda Lucita massacre and harassment in the following months resulted in the killing of 14 and the wounding of 187, including women and children. The struggle of the Hacienda Lucita farmers and workers exemplifies the damaging effects of capitalism on people's lives. The farm workers were living on starvation wages and threatened with mass layoffs. The farmers had no other choice but to go on strike. The plight of the Hacienda Lucita workers, pitted against one of the strongest land-owning families in the Philippines, is just one amongst many struggles of the millions of Filipino workers. Under U.S. pressure, the Philippine government has implemented policies which have repressed workers' rights for decades, all in the name of profits, making the Philippines one of the most dangerous places for trade unionists in the world. Every day, workers face assaults, illegal arrest and detention, disappearances, and threats. The Arroyo government has attempted to criminalize and delegitimize workers and their efforts to defend their civil and human rights by red baiting and calling them enemies of the state. In order to entice more foreign investors and gain foreign loans, the Philippine government opens its doors to multinational corporations, such as Nestle and Dole, allowing them to dominate the Philippines' economy and dictate its foreign policies. Grabbing land from peasants and committing gross violations of labor laws, Dole and Nestle have been exploiting their workers and waging a violent campaign to crush the unions. Since the government assumed jurisdiction over the Dole labor dispute, workers have been prevented from conducting mass actions, while Dole has continued to defy the law and blatantly violates the workers' human and trade union rights. Similarly, after almost 5 years of struggle for the Nestle workers, 15 have died, the union president has been murdered, and out of fear, most of the children have stopped going to school. In 2006, the Supreme Court of the Philippines reaffirmed their decision that the workers' struggle was valid and justified, but Nestle continues to ignore the highest court. In fact, Arroyo's declaration of workers being terrorists and enemies of the state gives license to use military and police force to attack and threaten the workers' lives and human rights. This is a clear mark of manipulation of government power to benefit big foreign businesses instead of the greater majority of the people. Since the first foreign aggressors landed on Philippine soil, Filipinos have had a strong culture of resistance, fighting for their rights and sovereignty. Workers' organizations and unions throughout the Philippines continue to make significant gains in raising the living conditions of all Filipinos. The history of resistance does not stop in the Philippines, but has continued in the United States with Filipino activists. In Delano, California, Philip Veracruz was a prominent Filipino farm worker activist, crossing racial lines in fighting against worker exploitation in the grape vineyards. After immigrating to the U.S. in 1931, Carlos Bulasan became a leading organizer in the Seattle-based Cannery Union and a prominent author documenting the harsh conditions of Filipino workers in the United States. Since the Hacienda Lucita massacre, the workers won a major victory when the government ordered the distribution of land titles to the farm workers. More importantly, the farm workers are implementing a genuine land reform of their own. By remaining vigilant in their struggle to defend the rights of the workers, the union members are seeing great improvements in their lives. While there is strife abroad or here in the U.S., the Filipino people will continue to follow in the footsteps of their predecessors, fighting for their basic rights, a decent livelihood, social justice, and peace. Filipinos and others around the world are called to remember what happened on that fateful day when Filipino workers practiced their right to a better life. November 16, the Hacienda Lucita Massacre. We honor and remember those who have fought courageously and will continue to fight for a better life for all.
For my seeds' well-being, I declare war. Hacienda Lucita, I declare war. For the last 500 years, been in a war to make sure that we never see 500 more. I won't rest until my story been told. I won't rest until my story been told. Come on, I won't rest until my story been told. I won't rest until my story been told. The wicked try to justify to keep what they stole. It eats at their souls, guess they reap what they sow. Competing with your brother for the love of the dough. But we know we own nothing, so we claim it for show. Who got the guns and the gold? Who left us out in the cold? White wilderness I travel while in search of my own. It's why I'm flipping a poem like it was written in stone. It's for the children seeking answers to the question of home. This ain't no neo-soul, even though it's subtle and slow. The political is personal, you suckers should know. It's why my body won't rest until my story's been told. I won't rest until my stories have been told. Now, I wrote the scroll, flipped the script, broke the mold, but my people ain't free, we just out on parole. My collection of records is for my son when he's grown. He'll appreciate the now when we call it the old. These Americans forgetting that they live on a globe, the same planet as those left abandoned in droves, kept in bondage by the chain of a creditor's loan. Their money's